All right, it's official. We're recording it. Okay, today we're going to talk about working with sellers, but I have a whole different spin on this class because you don't have a seller. So we're going to find you a seller or at least a listing, and we're going to run our game plan that we come up with today for someone else's listing. But before that, I want to talk about a few things, kind of about like the process. So let's go all the way from the beginning. You get a lead. Someone says, I want to sell my house. Then the next step is you meet with them and you have a whole bunch of things that you do before you meet them. Probably run a CMA, prepare your listing appointments, get all your documents, all of that. You go on that appointment and you explain your value, you explain what you're going to do to sell the house, and then they sign the listing agreement and you put it active on the market. And that takes us to this point. So you have an active listing. Days on market right now is right around 60-ish days. So it is on the market for 2 months before it sells. This is not a bad market. It's just you have to talk to your sellers. So like imagine if you listed your house with me and I tell you how awesome I am in the listing appointment. You're so excited. We get you pictures ready. I'm talking to you about pictures, and then all of a sudden it's live, and then you just don't hear from me at all. Like you would worry, like, what's going on? And so, what we want to do here is make sure that the seller feels good. So, we're going to have a kind of a couple of buckets here as we do tasks. Some of these tasks are to sell the listing. Some of these tasks are to make the sellers feel good. And some of the tasks are to get us leads because our goal should be sell this house and make the seller feel good. But if we can get a buyer or another seller that wants to go buy or sell, then boom, we're great to go. So the number one complaint that most sellers had uh, as we looked back like 5+ years ago was communication. They wouldn't hear enough from the sellers. We stopped hearing that because houses would sell too fast. And so I haven't seen the survey on it, but I'm pretty sure that's back. I would bet money that that's back, and that's a big thing. So the number one thing that you should do is communicate with your sellers. The the rule of thumb is never go more than a week without telling them what's going on. How this looks like to me in practice is usually on Friday, I will call them. This is always a phone call unless they're like, just text. I'm only a texter. Um, I like to call because you can pull little things out. And I'll give you an example of this is um, I have this, let's call her an acquaintance. It's like my parents' neighbor that doesn't really like she knows me, but we're we're not like good enough friends to ever hang out or anything. So she listed her house with her best friend, who is a new real estate agent. Um, and this was like 8 years ago. So she listed her house and she wasn't getting anything. Her house happened to be down the street from a parade of homes home. And she's like, I feel like we should have so much traffic because we're in that same neighborhood. We're not as big and nice at it, but we're a big, nice house. So we should be getting like some people that are just driving around. They should at least come like buy the house, but she hasn't even put like a sign from the parade home, like go this way, there's a house for sale. And I'm like, that's such an easy thing. I guarantee that that agent just didn't even think about it. If this agent was just checking in every single week, she would have known because they would have asked, like, oh, how's like, are we getting a bunch of sign calls or people driving by or anything? She'd be like, no, why would you say that? Like, oh, because the parade of homes is right next to our house. And so one phone call, just simply saying, how do you feel like everything is going, would have changed everything in this scenario. So phone calls are the best. Now, texts also work. What you're going to give is an update of what has happened, even though they know basically everything, like how many showings happened and what feedback we got from those showings. Then you're going to say what you have done this week, and then ask them how they feel like everything is going. Every single call has those same handful of things. Uh, Sometimes there's no showings. Sometimes there's showings and no feedback. So you're going to say, I reached out to these people and they gave me zero feedback. PS, that's an automated system that it will send an email to the agent. Um, then uh, what you did that week, and we're going to talk about some of the things you can be doing, but even the little stuff. Like, oh, I got a sign call and I talked to that person. And if they are approved for a loan, we're going to come see the house. Or I talked to a person and I can't represent them, so I pass them to another agent to come see the house. Hopefully, they'll be seeing it if this is in their price range, whatever that looks like. And that sounds so small, but if you are doing things, then people are happy. The agents that no one likes are there's some joke about so many P's. They like put it on the MLS, they post a sign, and then they pray. Kind of an idea that it sells. The spoiler alert is the best way to sell a house is on the MLS. Like that is like number one. So if we want to sell the house, we just put it on the MLS and it will probably sell. And ooh, what websites? See what AI teaches us. Um, so in terms of what the Google AI tells us, if you post it on the MLS, uh, that is the main trusted source of roughly 96 to 97% of real estate professionals in Utah. So we're good to go. Uh, it's going to go to all the major real estate portals, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com, brokerage and agent websites. Have you set up your brokerage web or your agent website? Okay, it's probably in the works for you. So you'll be there, and it will be same with every single one of these agent websites. Um, Specialized search sites. This is more common with like land or commercial. Um, and basically anywhere. So this is probably thousands of websites. Like if you told me that this went out to 100,000 websites, I would believe you. Kind of an idea. So when you post to the MLS, like that's why all of the marketing kind of gets taken care of in terms of selling the property. So then it just should be you. Now with every listing, the other thing that I think that is very important is I always make a game plan for how quickly do we want to sell it and when are we going to change anything. Um, my rule of thumb, which is made up based off of what I saw a decade ago in showings, is typically we would get 10 showings to get one offer. And we would usually get 3 showings a week. So it was like 3 weeks we would get an offer. This was when it was about 30 to 45 days on the market. So we might not get quite 3 showings a week, but I still think the 10 showings holds pretty true. So if we are not getting showings, we're overpriced. If we're getting showings and no offers, we're a little overpriced. If we're getting offers, but they're low, we're probably real close, but a little overpriced. If we are getting a whole bunch of offers, then we're priced too low and we need to try to negotiate up. So that kind of gives us a good pulse on the market based off of what's happening, right? If we're on the MLS and we're not getting showings, we're overpriced. So we need to talk about this. My favorite is every 3 weeks. Let's talk about this every 3 weeks, and we're going to decide, should we lower the price or not? I always call it a price adjustment or a price enhancement, never a price reduction, because of sales, right? You have to have your fancy names. So if you are keeping your seller up to date, there's a couple of other things, tips and tricks that you should do. Number one, on the MLS. Do you have the MLS yet? Okay. Welcome to the MLS then. So I'm going to do a search here, a full search, which is the big one, where we can put everything in here. And it defaults to a couple of things like status active. And I'm going to scroll all the way bottom because I want to find anything in our brokerage. Okay. We have 158 listings that are for sale in our brokerage. Let's do single family just because I want that. I'm kind of making the search as I go up. Where's the never find things new? What year? Year built. All right. Just didn't want a new construction house. Okay. So, oh wait, I'm gonna do one more thing. I want it to be in Utah County. Okay, 35 listings in Utah County that are not new construction listed by our brokerage. We're gonna play around with one of them. Let's go something kind of like normal-ish, but that's fun. Ooh, what's this one? This looks nice. Who's listing this? Okay. Susie Clyde. We're gonna work with her property, okay? So, we're gonna pretend as if this was our listing for a little bit. So number one, it's been on the market for 17 days. So we're a little more than 2 weeks in. We are on our third week, right? If you want, you can click this history and see what's been going on. This is real boring. She listed it. You can see that it got canceled right at the end of 2025. Looks like they didn't want to go through December. So they listed it at $1 million, then they lowered it 50 grand, then they changed what was included, excluded, changed the remarks, lowered it 25 grand, changed the remarks, lowered it 25 grand again, changed the remarks, then they canceled the listing, then they relisted like a month later. And that's where we're at. And so, but they raised the price again. I don't like this property. Let's move to the next one. All right. How about, I want like a good looking house. Like, ooh, like with this Mapleton. Who's this one? Oh, that's like a newish construction one, maybe. Spanish Fork to be built. Ooh, $11 million, almost 12. Wait, I wanted to find, there's no street taxes. Construction, built standing. Okay. Get rid of some of those others. By the way, I'm clicking this little grid view over here so we can see better pictures. Okay. Like a good looking house that's like this Lehigh house. Who's listing this? Ooh, Sarah. Okay. She was a new agent. Like, Last year, she graduated from the program, so this is perfect. So we can start judging her. Okay, you ready for this? 103 days on market. Um, so she probably started too high. She started at 705. We're at 680. We can click into the history and see here. She listed it in October, lower the price 5, lower the price 10, change the remarks, lower the price 10 more, just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I see a different name.
Oh, Brittany. She's the transaction coordinator. So Sarah's the agent, and she probably said, "Hey, Brittany, will you lower the price?" And Brittany did. And then Sarah got in here and actually changed the remarks, and then Brittany did that. So every time anything is changed on the listing, you'll see that it is syndicated here. Now, the big thing with the price adjustment that does this is if you can click saved searches or email alerts, e-alerts, hot sheets. I don't know what they're calling them anymore. And if anything matches your criteria, it will send you an email. Some agents set this up for their clients to get some get it themselves, some do both. And so let's say you had a search set up for homes in Lehi that were $700,000 or less. When this was first listed, it was at 705, so this wouldn't have triggered. Then they moved it to 700. Boom, it triggers. You get an email saying, "Hey, there's this listing here." So if you're ever on the fence of like where should you list it, I always like to do the big round numbers, like every 25 grand. Like I wouldn't do like 26 grand, I'd do 25 on things. Don't do 51, do 50. So people are like, maybe like this should be 455. So you know what? If you do 450, you're probably going to get more people to see it. Because people usually do chunks. And I think that only matters on the high end. On the low, no one ever buys on their low end of their price, right? If you're approved to $700,000 and you do like, okay, let's look at houses between six and $700,000. You're not buying a $600,000 house. So if you're like, should I list at 595 or 600? I don't think that matters because you might be included in that search for the 600, but you're comparing yourself to $700,000 houses. You're going to be the worst one. So little things like that. But so you can tell Sarah has been doing a good job about being a good agent because she is talking to them. So we started here. We're like 2.5, 3 weeks later, she lowers the price. 4 weeks later, she lowers the price again. This is like a 6 week, and we lower the price again. So she has some cadence that she's talking to them about lowering the price. Before you lower the price, you have to talk to your sellers. You have to get them on board. So Sarah has been doing this with this. So this seems like a great house. So let's see how the marketing's going. Should we judge this? I'm going to share my screen here because I did not do that. Okay. So the first thing, if we just took this address, and I often will do this for my sellers, is I will just Google an address. Google used to tell you how many results and how fast they got, but you'll notice that like we have Zillow, we have Realtor, we have Utah MLS, we have KSL, we have Remax, we have whatever that one is, Justin Udi, Homes.com, Facebook. Like we have 10 pages of listings. And if we go to the 10th page, we still are getting homes for sale with a view in Lehi. Oh, here's Sarah Heiner. Lehi homes for sale. We're still getting great results for this house. I wanted to go back to the first page again. So the MLS is the thing that sells houses. Before we dive too much into this, this is a great link that you can just grab and send right to your sellers and be like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I posted your house and it looks like it's out there." And as they scroll here, they're going to be like, "Okay, this is out there everywhere." I want to talk about a few of these in a moment. But the other thing that I got on the MLS to show you that I forgot is so with Sarah here, we're just gonna, what's that button? That's the, no, I wanna, just want it to look different. There, that's the view I wanted. So we have the listing here. So if this were my listing, one of the things that I always do to give me something to talk about with the sellers is I'm going to do a new search. I'm just going to copy this MLS number because that will work. The address also works. Clear result. Okay. We'll do a full search. I just click clear results. And then you don't have to select them all, but I'm going to select them all for status. Then what I want to do is click on this little view map, and I'm going to do the radius tool and set the location. And so it's going to jump us right into this neighborhood. Now, what I really care about, I don't care about some of these outer ones. So I might just come in here and be like, okay, this is like the neighborhood maybe. And so we have that. How do I remove? Right here, clear. Oh. If we could see better on this screen, we would say like, this is the neighborhood. And so then we have our neighborhood. Now what you can do here is you can create a listing alert. We're going to name it. You can send it to whoever you want. I just click myself. And then I would name this, like if this was the Johnson's house, I'd be like the Johnson's neighborhood. And I would spell it all right. What I'm doing here is I want to be able to see who else is on the market and what they're doing. Because this neighborhood, it looks like it's got some nicer big homes, not too far from it. And then it's got some little variation of something. You'll notice that some of these, like this one, canceled. So it did not sell for $625. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 4,300 square feet. We're 6-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,200 square feet. So more bed and bath, but less square footage. Like we could dive into that, and that's more of the CMA. But this listing alert, what it's going to do is it's going to keep us active and accurate and live on our CMA, because let's say that we decided none of these are active right now. But let's say that our next door neighbor listed, and you as the agent did not know that, but your sellers called you and they're like, hey, did you see our neighbors just listed? You don't want to be like, what, they did? You want to be like, I just saw that come across on the MLS. I was going to call you. I'm glad you're calling me about it. It looks like they're undercutting our prices, or they're listed way higher. And I looked at the pictures. You guys look way better. This is so good for us. Like those kind of conversations are great. So we want to do that. So every time I list a house, I set up a neighborhood nurture or a listing alert for the neighborhood. If I think my sellers are going to see this, I'm going to do that. I might also do this for homes that are very similar to this. Like if someone wants a 6-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,200 square foot home, like why would we not set that up for everything in Lehigh that's like more than 5 bedrooms, more than 3 baths, between like 3,000 and 3,500, because that's our competition. If we're like right on par with that, then great. If not, like we're going to have to lower it down. And so every day we could just quickly see like, how do we compare to what else is on the market? And this would be for like active listings only, because we just need to beat the other active listings. If we're the best active listing, then we're going to sell. If we're not, we need to change something, either price or condition, which is hard. So, okay, questions real quick about all of this.
CIP that the 625, $625,000 cancel.
Uh-huh.
But they have 4 bedroom, 3 bed, 3 bath. But more square footage. Obviously, the 681 is 6 beds, 4 baths. How do you,
Yeah, pricing homes is difficult. They have the exact same kitchen. We could even click in on, oops, I don't want pictures, I want the whole thing. So we could click in and see their basement is 10% finished. And I bet ours is 100%. Yep, boom. So the difference between us and them really is we have bedrooms in the basement and they don't. So they did not sell at 625. Are we going to sell at 680 because we have that and we have less square footage? Like maybe like, and that's where like the whole CMA, and I always tell people the best CMAs are you're going to compare the most similar to the most similar. Like your best comp is the next door neighbor that sold yesterday with the exact same floor plan and square footage. Short of that, we need to change something. It needs to be a little bit different, a little bit further away, or a little bit longer ago that it sold. And it's kind of like an art and a science to that. And so definitely getting good at that. Because then there's even like 629.9, and that's like the same size. One less bed, one less bath. I bet this basement's finished. So this seems like a great comp for this one, just doing it quickly, kind of offhand, not really looking. So I would imagine that we are overpriced because this one's like 630, but we're a little bit bigger, so maybe we're 640, 650 maybe, but we're still at 680. Seems like a stretch. But that's not me. I didn't look at any of the comps. I'm looking at just a couple of houses. Yeah, then you got 790 that expired, which means it didn't sell. It was on the market for the whole time that the listing agreement was, and then they did not sell it, so the listing agreement expired. Cancel mean they canceling the listing agreement. Sold at 825. 5 beds, 4 baths, 6,300 square feet. Looks like it might have more of a yard than us. So maybe that's the difference there. And then some big ones that probably don't seem to match us. So kind of hard to tell off of this, but we at least have a good house that we're gonna market. So now let's talk about marketing this. And the way that I think about this is so the MLS sells houses. I want to go generate leads. So what can I do to get leads from this? And so there's a handful of things that you can do. And by the way, you are going to do this as soon as you have everything all set up. So one of the easiest ways to do this is with an open house. It's easy, but it's not, well, it is pretty simple too. It's the most time consuming out of all of them. You are going to go sit in an open house and hope that people come. You get to do a bunch of other marketing as well, but when anyone walks in the door, they can become your client because the chances that they buy this house are very slim. Short of that, we want to blast it out everywhere. So if this is your listing, then you're in luck because the MLS syndicates out everywhere. If this is not your listing, then and like let's say, and you can do this. This is a real thing that agents do. Is you could call Sarah here and say, "Hey, Sarah, I saw your listing, and I think it's amazing. It's actually in this area that I love. Blah blah blah. I know all this about it. I'm a new agent. I was wondering, could I market your listing to try to get some leads to help you sell this house?" And if she has not done all of the things, then you can say, then she'll probably say, yep. So very easy call or text to her, or if she's in the brokerage, which she usually is every Tuesday, you can do that. So an easy way to do this, if we were going to do that, is we just Googled the address and we can see a few things. So it's always going to go to the big portals that show up first: Zillow, Realtor.com, Utah Real Estate, things like that. And the places that it does not automatically go to that are great for leads are KSL, Facebook, and Nextdoor. They're like the social media for homes. So we'll notice that why can't we click on KSL? The request has been blocked. Let's see. So so we could come in here to KSL and see if she, oops, put it in here. Oh, right here. So this is Sarah's listing. 680. She's got like a flyer as her front page. I don't know how I feel about that. Seems great because it's got her picture, a whole bunch of information. It's got a QR code, probably goes to her website. All of the information, and then it has her information, and very importantly, it has her brokerage on here. Has all of the details on here. So you do not have to have this listing to do this. You have to have permission from the listing agent. So you could go and create something here. So she probably just went to ChatGPT and said, "This is my listing. Can you help me?" She's got 11 photos on here. And so you could click through and see all of the photos. You should own the photos to do this. If you are marketing someone else's, you can steal from the MLS. But you'll notice when you go to the MLS, they have this little utahrealestate.com down here, so the best way is to actually get permission from the listing agent to put them up. Because if you steal this picture, the MLS might get mad at you and say, "Hey, you're putting our pictures places that you shouldn't." And you're like, "Oh, sorry." But they usually don't do that because usually it's just a listing agent that is marketing it. So she did a good job. She is on the MLS. You'll notice one favorite. They all have one favorite. Oh, two.
So it doesn't automatically go to every one of them. She did this separately.
Yep. So it does not go to KSL when you put it on utahrealestate.com because KSL is not, it does not have what's called an IDX feed. I have no idea what that stands for, but the IDX feed is where they're pulling. It's almost like we have a database on utahrealestate.com and the IDX feed gets to pull from that database. KSL has decided that anyone can post these. So are any of these okay, let me tell you something wrong with this one. This seems like a great listing. It says by agent, which means you can't reach out to this because it's not a for sale by owner. You would call the agent, blah, blah, blah. It does not tell me the agent's brokerage. Like I can't easily see. Maybe it's in all of this description, but this looks exactly like the description that's on the MLS. Sarah's looked way better. And then it says nothing about a brokerage. So in theory, I could say go to Carrie. Oh, equity. I guess it does have this. I don't know. I guess it's there. You're fine. Why not put your name in your brokerage? Be safe. what are the chances? Let's see. If you ever see, by the way, any that are listed by owner, by a cat for 3.2 million. It's an apartment complex. The strange picture. All right, that doesn't seem real. Anyway, so like this house right here on Willow Park Drive in Lehigh, this is for sale by owner. It says owner agent. So whoever this Samantha is claims to also be an agent, but it doesn't show her brokerage. That's probably not a great thing. But you could reach out and call this person and they would be considered a for sale by owner. So you could call Caroline or Steven here and say, hey, I want to sell your house. That's a real thing that people do. But so definitely put listings that you have, or if you wanted to do this for another person, you can do that. I bet if we were to search out of our, what do we have, like 53 listings on our MLS from our brokerage. I bet if you were to search KSL, you would not find all 53 of them. You would probably find 10. So that's a whole gap in the market. So you could say, hey, agent, I do a lot of marketing, all of this, blah, blah, blah on KSL, Facebook, whatever. Could I put your listing and then try to sell it? And then they might say, great, yes, I'm not going to deal with that. You totally can do that. So that is definitely a great way to do it. Let's close out of KSL. The next one, and I saw a listing here, Sarah Heiner. Oh, this is, will it just let me go there? Of course not. So she posted an open house. And then she has a comment with a link to Utah Real Estate. Facebook Marketplace. So another great place to post is in the Facebook Marketplace. I don't use this very much. I don't want cars. Let's see. Property rentals, home sales. That's the one we want. Oh. Because we're not logged in. Oh, there we go. We got it. So if we wanted to, we could zoom in to wherever her listing was and see if we could find it. Just the same. And so if someone is searching just on Facebook, we can be that agent. So like, for example, here's this Lehigh home listed over a week ago. Here's all the information. Here's the description. Oh, look, the same for sale by owner that we just found. They listed it on Facebook. So we can do that same exact thing and try to sell it this way. So if you're doing that, any lead that comes in is now yours. So like if we could be like, hey, Sarah, would you be okay if I listed this on the Facebook Marketplace? Now, I don't know how many leads you'll actually get by doing this, but if you get 2 or 3, what are the chances that one of those is looking to actually buy, and then you can convert them and close them? Might as well do it. It gives you something to market. And then it's very easy if you're doing this on Facebook to share this. Maybe if I was logged in, I'd have more buttons to be able to just share right to my account and things like that. So you can definitely do that. And then people are seeing like, oh, look, shares listing all these houses, kind of an idea. So definitely interesting. You'll notice though, I'm here in Lehigh, 2 miles. If we zoom out, like there are not very many houses that were listed there. It was like that one. So I don't know if it's great, um, but that is a very big one. Now, the other one I mentioned, do some open houses for people. And as you're doing open houses for people, do exactly like Sarah did, is she posted that she was doing an open house. All of this information, your comment should go to your website or somewhere where you can collect leads. Because this had 1.4 thousand views. It's an interesting way to say it. 1,400 views. And so how many people ended up seeing this or clicking on this? Now, if I click on this, I can look at all of the pictures, I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to ever be signed in or give any of my information. Now, if she would have just gone to her website, so for example, this is my website, utah.kw.com. I thought that was clever. I have gotten 0 leads because of it. If I start to look for, like if I could have just looked for this home, what would view? So I could have just gone and grabbed this, and then I could say something like, hey, if you want to see all of the pictures, come to my website, and boom, it's going to say, get connected and never miss another property, log in or sign up, and they'll have to exit out of that. And now they can't see the house. And so they're like, I want to see the house. I'm going to log in. And then when they log in, I get notified and now I get their lead, right? This is not helping sell the house at all. These things like KSL probably is not going to sell it. Facebook's probably not going to sell it. Me linking to my website is probably not going to sell it, but this might get me leads. If you could get 10 leads and one of them closes because you spent 30 minutes just posting all over the place, then that is helpful. Um, the other thing that you can do uh, is try to drive traffic somewhere. Um, for example, oh wait, that's not what I wanted. Canva.kw.com. In Canva, you are sure. You're able to like create websites. And there's templates and everything already on this. To be honest, I don't do this, and so I'm not good enough to share all of this. But if you go to canva.kw.com and say, find a template that you like for a website, because KW's built a whole bunch of them in there, and then you can grab information from a listing and you have a whole website. Then you could send people to that website that only has that one link. So then your KSL, it or your Facebook or something, it might not have a whole bunch of pictures. It might have like 3. And then in the description, it says, for more pictures or information, go to this place. And then it has them go to somewhere else. I know like places like KSL don't like that. Craigslist is an interesting place to do something like that. Not as big in Utah, but if someone's moving to Utah, they don't know about KSL. So they'll get on Craigslist. So wherever you think like, okay, I could post this about this, like do it. You can do it for another agent. You just need their permission. It's easiest within our brokerage because the only permission you need is from that agent because you're still at the brokerage. So Dean has already given you permission to post anything that the listing agent's okay with. If you go to an outside brokerage, like if I called Berkshire Hathaway and I said, hey, there's a listing in my neighborhood, listing agent and I want to market it on my social media and post everything and try to help you sell it, then that agent would have to have an okay from their broker. Some brokers are like, I don't care, like all marketing is going to help. Then do that. If you're big on social medias, these are great too, as like you can just go like walk through and film a house. Now you do also need permission for that. But like creating like a little video of a house and saying, come check this out and stuff like that. Uh, the listing agent. Yep. If you were doing an open house, uh, I take that the idea that you are doing the open house as an okay to do the marketing for the open house. And so if you do a video walkthrough, post on your social media, I would check KSL and Facebook and put it on there, at least until the open house, marketing that you are doing an open house, social media posts, all of these things so that you can get marketing out there. The whole idea here is there's two groups of people that you can market to. It's people that you know and people that you don't know. This is more geared towards the people that you don't know, and you're going to bring them into your database. So you're going to get their contact information somehow, and you're going to reach out to them consistently until they buy a house or tell you to stop reaching out to them. And then the people that you know will be like, oh, look at this listing. And they won't be like, she's not the listing agent. They don't know things like that. They'll be like, she just posted this house. She's probably selling it. Like, go her. Like, she's doing so awesome. And so it's really hard to tell, like, is this your listing that you're selling, or is this just a listing that's you're marketing for someone else? Questions? Okay. So, in summary, the MLS is going to sell the listing. Post on the MLS. You will also get leads from posting on the MLS because it syndicates out to some places that do that. You should also spend time going to, like, when we pulled up Sarah's listing, homes.com showed up, where's the other? Utah Real Estate Realtor.com, Zillow. You should take time and make sure your profile looks great. Because, oh, Zillow's the worst example of this. Wait, get out of there. So like if we went to homes.com and now we see Sarah Heiner, like she doesn't have her picture. She doesn't have like a bio or anything. She's got a couple neighborhoods that she's experienced in, and I think it's just pulling her sales, her active listings. She could probably do more if she were to come here and customize her profile. I don't know what she could do, but she at least gets a little more things like where's her picture, all of that stuff. Same with UtahRealEstate.com. If we were to go look at her, she has a profile. And so these, you can also, the public can see them. She's got no bio. She's got a Facebook and an Instagram and a website. So she's got a couple of things going on for her. Her website, all of this stuff. So, yep, I would all put your bio everywhere that there's a website that you can. Because like realtor.com, if you go in here and check out your bio, like, is that gonna get you a lead? Like maybe, maybe not, but it's at least something just to make sure. And sometimes you have to like come in and like claim things and set things up. So like, I don't know who this goes to if I fill this out. But like Zillow won't. If I come over here and click contact the agent, this does not go to Sarah. This goes to, that's why it doesn't say the agent, it says contact agent. They're very specific about that because they are running the same playbook that we could do. They have just they have billions of dollars to do it, is they take a listing and they post it online and try to drive traffic to it. We want to do that same thing, but we're not going to be as big and as fancy with as much money. So we're going to take a listing and put it everywhere that we possibly can go get more eyeballs on it, whether it's our listing or someone else's. So homework time. Because you don't have the MLS yet, this will be real homework. I want you to figure out like your game plan for how you would go and put your listing out there. And so you can go in here and see, like even we were talking about Susie's listing. We should have looked at hers because I know if you go to Facebook, Susie posts them on the Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if she does KSL. Sarah did KSL. Great. There's a handful of teams that automate all of this for you. So if you're on their team, it all happens because they want to get leads, and it's the way that they get leads. But with you having some time, you can go and do these things. So like, what would you do? Like, even just imagine me. Imagine if I said, I gave you free range to market my listing however you see fit to try to get leads to convert. I want you to have a game plan for this, but I don't want you to just have the plan. I want you to go to the next step, take that plan, and go and put it into practice. So go reach out to some of these agents in our office and say, hey, I love your listing. Would you mind if I ran a marketing plan on it? Here's what I was thinking. Facebook Marketplace, KSL, social media posts, ads, whatever you deem fit for that. And if they're okay with it, they're going to give you the thumbs up. If they're not, they're either not going to respond or they're going to be like, oh no, I'm already doing that. No one will be offended. And then you're going to start to get a feel for who's doing well at these things. So again, how you would do this is if you just go to the full search, you can clear the criteria, but we only want to do active listings. That's all we are marketing. And then in the very bottom, we are going to do the office as KW Westfield. I could spell Westfield. Then we have 158 that we potentially could market. I would first start with your area that you want to work, because if one of these is posted in St. George and now all of a sudden you get a lead to St. George, it's like, are you driving to St. George to do that? So you might be like, oh, I'd work Salt Lake and Utah counties. Boom, 138. And then we can just click view results. And then if we don't like what we're seeing, we can start to narrow that down. I guess 138 is too many for this. So if we get on here, we can look at pictures and they're like, okay, well, maybe over 1 million's not great. Type of an idea. Maybe I don't want to do any townhomes or condos. These to be builts, maybe I don't want to do any of them. Or maybe that's going to be your bread and butter and you come down here and you say, hey, Jake, I just did a quick little search. It looks like there's a couple of places you're not marketing, and I would love to find you buyers to buy these houses. I think that they're awesome. Could I post this, run some ads, put it on social media, all of that to try to generate some buyer leads that I would then come sell to you? Well, not sell the leads, sell the houses. And then if Jake's okay with it, look at how many listings he has. Maybe he's doing all of this. So maybe the answer is no, but he's got 20 listings. So if Jake said, yeah, I would love if you did that. Boom. Now all of a sudden you have 20 listings that you can go out and market. But maybe he's going to be like, nah, you can't do that. And you're like, great. I know that Jake is not okay with that. Now, Jake is one of a couple of people that markets some of these homes. So Cole is another one. They're co-agents with Mike Gooch. So then you Be like, all right, well, Jake wasn't okay with it. Cole's probably not okay with it because they're doing these same for Salisbury Helm. And then you just start finding like what would work. Like, okay, here's a random Highland one. Mike Gooch. Well, if this is funny that I'm finding all of these same ones with Mike Gooch. It's like I planned this. You could reach out to Mike Gooch, and he's got a whole bunch of them. So, uh, 76, you might be like, Mike, can I go market some of these listings that you have? And maybe he's like, yeah, if it's not new construction, totally. And so then you just find whatever's not new construction. Boom, here's one Spanish Fork. I don't know. That grasslet's new. Maybe it's new construction.
New construction.
I don't even know. So we could do a little audit on him. So like if we grab this, like let's just do the same thing that we did with Sarah's, where we just throw this in Google. I didn't see what city this was in. Santaquin. Oh no, now I have to spell Santaquin. Santaquin, Utah. And then we can start seeing like, okay, came up on Zillow, came up on Realtor, that's the same. Utah Real Estate, yep, UtahRealEstate.net, Homes.com, Coldwell Banker, Zillow. I'm not seeing anything on KSL. I'm not seeing anything on Facebook. So he has this gap that maybe you saying it to him, he might be like, oh, I should post all of those. And if he has an assistant, which he probably should, having 76 listings, then maybe he's just going to tell his assistant, like, hey, you should go post these all to KSL. Or maybe he's going to be like, I don't want to deal with this. I would just love to sell these houses. So yeah, you can come and sell my houses. And so you could just go through some of these links and see if any of them, Plum and Co. That seems like a funny one. Like, okay, none of these seem like they all seem like IDX feeds, like they are just pulling straight from the MLS. So then you could be like, hey, Mike, I know you have a bunch of listings. I would love to market them. Do you care if I do? And I would pitch to him what you would do to find buyers for him. And if he's okay with that, then boom, we have a game plan. And now we have 76 listings. If you were going to do this, um, it is illegal for you to market a home for sale that is not for sale. So, an example of this is posting the house for sale on KSL, and then Mike gets an offer and accepts it, and now that home's not for sale anymore, but it's still on KSL as for sale. When that happens, you have to mark it under contract or sold or whatever KSL lets you do, or maybe you can just remove it from the site or pause it or something. And then if it goes back active, you can put it back on. However that works with KSL, you do that same thing. So someone like Mike, he might see this as like such a headache because there's so much going on and it's probably not going to sell the house. But if there's 100 people that get on and realize, hey, here's some things, and then a couple of them reach out to you, then maybe that's worth it. I would set up the same kind of listing alert for these houses. And so you could have a listing alert for like, if Mike said, yeah, you can do this, then you set up a listing alert for everything that Mike does. And every time he changes a price or changes a description or puts something under contract, you can just go and update whatever you're updating.
If I see this house that we didn't really think it to like, we thought of, but if it's a new build,
Oh, yeah.
I personally, when I'm looking at that, it wouldn't interest me because it's just a sketch. So could I go to wherever these new homes are and maybe take some additional pictures of like ones that have, are built or in that same, community?
Yep.
Add I obviously give permission, but can I, add some pictures in there so that it generates more interest, I guess.
We're going to try something random. Wait, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, all right, drop it down there. Oh, I have to sign in. All right. I was curious if we gave this is Gemini. They have the best image generation. It's called Nano Banana. And I was curious if we said, hey, here is a rendering or a drawing. Can you create what it would look like completed? And then you would post that and probably say, this is an example of what it could look like. This is AI rendered. And then you have a couple things. And because this might not even be built. Like if you drove to this house,
Right.
um, like it might be literally just dirt. And so if that's what it is, then that's not going to engage. But you're exactly right on the thread that you're pulling on, where it's like maybe this picture is why it's not moving at all. And I could imagine like 76 listings trying to stay up to date on all of that. Like they're busy, they're selling, they're doing all of these things. If you come in here and say, well, let's just go site visit, take a picture of a couple of these. I'll come back in 2 months and update some things if it hasn't sold, like you have the time, you have the resources to go do that. And so maybe this is almost built. Like who knows where this is at? Um, like so this is just a Highland sample. So maybe you go and say, hey, have you built a Highland that I can go get some pictures of? And you take some pictures or hire a photographer to go through and take some pictures, or maybe you do a video walkthrough. And so when you're posting this on Facebook, like this isn't built yet, but you want to see what it would look like. And you have a video of walking through this and say, now's your time. You can design all of these. If you're in the walkthrough, you didn't like the colors or the finishes or whatever. So you have the option to do that. So maybe you can actually do better marketing than what they're doing. Um, and so it might be a complete bonus to them. Side bonus with this, when you do well, you're going to get leads, but then maybe Mike Gooch, for this example, might start seeing how awesome you're doing and be like, will you just do this for our listings and hire you? Like that's a real thing that happens sometimes. So we have a big brokerage here. It's like, look at all of these listings that we have, 138, and we can just randomly click on them and say, oh, Cody, who just taught the other day. Okay, Cody, what are you doing to market your listings? And how good do these look? I know Cody has an assistant, but is the assistant taking advantage of all these other sources? Because KSL doesn't sell houses, Facebook doesn't sell houses, but they get leads. And so you don't need to sell this house, you need to get leads. So we're going to go do that. And then when you have these listings, you're going to have a little bit of a game plan to do additional marketing that no one else is really doing or doing well. And then you're like, I take care of the MLS. That's where all the houses sell. That's where the agents look, blah, blah, blah. I do that. And then I have this whole additional marketing plan and you get to talk about that. And then you have more leads that came in. So you can say some things like Sarah on her KSL. I could see that one person favorited it. So it's like, hey, that's not a lot, but this week I noticed we got a favorite on KSL. So hopefully that person is reaching out to us somehow. Like my information's there. We're on Facebook or they have an agent and they're reaching out. So let's get you, like, hopefully that brings us traffic. And you can give those kind of updates to your sellers as you're talking to them weekly rather than, well, I posted it on the MLS 4 weeks ago and we haven't had a showing. So I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully we get one this week. Like that's not an update that you want to share with people. So
If I were to go and post these in different, areas where they haven't, where we don't see a listing, if you're saying that I can uh, post it in something that would go to me, but then I refer it to them, or
nope, you would just be the buyer's agent. Yep. So yeah, so you post it like for example, my neighborhood has a Facebook page, a community page or whatever. The guy that runs it, he is like, he shuts it down. Anyone that tries to join. If you try to join, he says, "What's your address?" And then when they say an address, he'll go to the tax data. He's not real estate or anything. He's just crazy analytical, and he'll go to the tax data and be like, "Hey, it looks like this person actually owns the house. I don't think you live there. Prove to me that you live in this house." And then they they don't join. So if someone were selling a house in my neighborhood, I could be like, "Hey, can I post your house in my neighborhood community?" And then all of a sudden my neighborhood all has whatever link I post. And you know what link I'm going to post? To my KW website, which makes them sign in. So I know most of my neighborhood, but those that I don't know, or if I don't have their contact information, I'm getting it in my website. And so you're doing additional things like that.
Then that listing is gonna be in the.
Yep. Yep. So like if we went to any of these, like we could go to this listing in my website and it would be there. Because your KW website has literally every single uh house. So if we're like, okay, this one, we can search and boom, it's there. And this is exactly what it looks like. You can click through all the pictures, has the agent. If this were my website, it wouldn't say Cody is the listing agent. It would say, have me be your agent or something like that. And it would have my picture and information and description, but then all of this, and then other listings to look at. What's cool about this is if you're like, well, we're going to go to Atlanta for, I spelled Atlanta wrong. Oh, well, here's a house that's in Buckeye, Arizona. If I wanted to go live in Hawaii, boom, I can click and see houses in Hawaii and it will zoom in there. You can even, let's see, what are the chances we got? Ooh, let's go to Australia. We got Australia, New Zealand. Any houses over here? Yeah, look at this. So here's a house in South Africa. Why is that? You want to buy a house in South Africa? That map is off. There's Argentina. So like literally anywhere that Keller Williams is tied into, we can see the prices and things. So it works everywhere. Super cool. So we have literally everything. So, okay, your homework is you're going to figure out how you can go market listings that's not the MLS. Then I want you to find some of these listings and reach out to these agents. A text message is fine and just say, "Hey, I'm a new agent. I'm looking to do some additional marketing. I saw your house. It looks amazing. And I would love to run my marketing game plan on it that is," and then mention a few things and say, "Would you be okay if I marketed on these websites to try to find you a buyer?" When they say, "Yep," then you do that. Any lead that comes in, the secret is speed to lead. So if someone registers, and you can call them while they're still on the place that they registered. So if it's like KSL, you know how they're like, they send the canned text every time. Is this still available? Like, if you can respond back within 2 minutes, 5 minutes is the number, but even better, if you can respond in 2 minutes, they will still be on that Because imagine if you like, you go to a house, you look at it, you're like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if this is still available. You messages, is this still available? And then you're not sitting waiting there. You're going on to the next listing. And so when someone responds, yes, it's still available, you're like, oh, shoot, what house was I on? But if you can respond in 2 minutes, they might still be on that web page. And yes, it is. You want to go see it? And then all of a sudden they become your lead, and then you just convert them to be your buyer. And boom, sell a house. If that's not the right house, you go show other houses, all of that. So figure out how you can market and then do that. And then remember, when you have a listing, you have to update your sellers, you have to keep them in the loop, all of those things. Okay. Go and do and get some leads.